Okay, so now we're moving into determining our fire. So at this point, if you look on page 6, you'll also see down in the lower right-hand corner the Starship Tactics weapon firing sequence. So basically what we do here, the first thing you do is you choose your target, and then you assign which weapons are going to be firing it. So basically the way it works in a nutshell, you choose and announce your target, you determine the range, you find which shield gets hit, you roll the dice for the hit, or to see if you hit it or not, and then you compare the results to your firing chart. So we'll run through that here. I'm going to go ahead for this example here. Now, firing arc is very easy to determine here. We're both in each other's forward firing arcs. And I can fire a total of 6 disruptors, because I have 2 forward port facing ones, 2 forward and 2 forward starboard, plus I have 1 KP-4 photon torpedo with the forward facing. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm going to go ahead and fire 2 disruptors, and I'm going to fire 2 photon torpedoes. And what you need to do here is you have to be kind of specific here what you're doing. So like I'm going to fire, so I want to say firing 2 times port forward KP9 disruptors. And also of course I need to tell what I'm firing at. Now it's kind of easy here because there's only you and me, but if there's more than one ship, you have to specify the target you're shooting at. So in this case I'll say firing at the United Federations of Planet Heavy Cruiser. So there I've gone. I've gone ahead, just like the weapons firing sequence says, I've chosen to announce my targets. Now I'm going to determine my range. Go up here and click on the rangefinder once. Hover over your ship. Hold it on the left mouse button, drag it over to the target ship. And you'll see a red line extends. It shows you the range, 8 hexes. It also will show you exactly what shield is going to get hit. And it also makes it very easy to determine whether or not your weapons are in a proper firing arc or not. Like in this case, I have a direct line of sight to your forward shield, which is shield number 2. So when damage comes your way, it's going to be clearly applied to shield number 2. So again, like I said, I'm starting by firing my 2 forward port KP9 disruptors. Now I go ahead and roll 1d10 for each one. Now before I do that, here I want to show you the firing charts. Now those particular disruptors use firing chart W. So I go here, look at the fire chart W. My range again was 8. So I look over here, W, cross-reference with 8, and it would appear that I need to roll a 1 to 8 to hit. Now, so the odds are pretty good at this range. So, firing number 1. Roll the dice. Boom. Now, so there you go, 1 to 6. That was a hit. Hit. And now, this is where we also go ahead and specify what the damage was done. So if I charge that thing up to its full 5 points of power, and we'll say for argument's sake it's 5 points of power, hit 5 points, and at that range, at range of 8, it does plus 3 damage. 5 points plus 3. Or if you want, you can go ahead and just say, add it all up and say 8. So that's the first one. Do the second one now. Bang, 5. Also a hit. Same thing. Cut and paste is your friend. Now, I'm going to fire the photon torpedo. So firing 1 times KP-4 photon. And according to my data here, that thing uses firing chart Q. So go back here to the weapons chart, firing chart Q, range of 8. And you'll see here my odds are a little bit less of hitting that thing. I need to roll a 1 to 7 to hit. So we jump back over here. I go ahead and roll the dice. Oh, look at that, a 10. I missed. Whiff. Missed. Got lucky here because, hey, those photon torpedoes hit hard. Particularly the Klingon variant here, that does 18 points of damage. Ouch. When you consider that your shields only do 16 points maximum, that means you're going to take internal damage whether you like it or not. Now, when we get into the advanced versions of the game, missile damage is special because you have a chance to evade missile damage. But that's for the advanced version of the game. For this, for the beginner's version, you got to take your missile hit. Sorry. But anyway, so there you go. There's I do all my combat, all my firing, just like it says here in page 6 on the weapon firing sequence. And so at this point, I don't have anything else to do because hey, we've already moved. I've already done everything else. I fired. So we move into first phase, repair power. That's basically what continuing play is. This is where we're just going to go ahead and rinse and repeat. This is where I would go ahead and save my vlog file and email it to you. And then you would go ahead and load it up, play it out, and do your version of the exact same thing I just did. Now, what you will do, however, is like say, when we come around here, you will also have, I suppose I need to stop for a moment and tell you how this, the log file trading works. So what we do here is like say, I went ahead and done all this stuff out. I save a log file for my phase. I send it to you. You load the log file, play it out. You go ahead and do your moves. You go ahead and then you do what you need to do for target hit. You go ahead and apply your damage. And so I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So let's say you've taken damage. And let's add up how much damage I did to you. So it looks like I did a total of 16 points of damage. Well, guess what? You lucked out because I knocked your shield down, but I didn't do any internal damage. Because I'm assuming that your shield 1 was fully charged to 16 points, and so all I managed to do on that phase was knock the shield down. I didn't actually do any damage to your ship. Now, if I did do damage, what I'd have to do is then we go to your damage control display, and you would tick off the number of damage points on your shield. So you still have to do this. So like say on that forward shield you had 16 points, tick them all off. The shield's down, and that's all you have to do. But if that thing only had 8 points, what you would have to do then is tick off 8, and then the remaining 8 would have actually hit inside your ship. And the way you determine how the damage is distributed is you go back down here to the damage charts, and you'll notice here if you look at your ship, it's your ship data, and you'll see that it uses damage chart C, so which is this set down here. And you'll also notice that there's 6 different charts depending on which shield was hit. In this particular case, all the damage came on the forward shield, so you would use damage charts for shield 2. And of course this is fairly self-explanatory here. So for every point of damage that gets past your shields, you are going to need to roll a dice to determine what got hit. Now, certain things, so you'll see here that there's 10 different things that can happen. Your shield generator can get damaged, and down here it shows what happens. Beam weapon damaged, missile weapon damage, superstructure damage, 1, 2, 3. So you can get, might take 1 point of damage, 2 or 3 superstructure damages. 7 is something you don't want to get. 7's bad. Sensor damage, bridge hits. Now, for the beginner game, we're not going to do bridge hits because you'll look down here at the chart and you'll see that there's a whole bunch of things that happen when the bridge gets hit. Now, the stuff here for personnel shaken, that's designed for the role-playing game. We're not doing that, so this part here, forget about it. But when we start doing system shaken, we will use this. So if you get a bridge hit, you got to roll and see what happens here. But for now, if you get bridge hits, they're freebies. And then